Oh, can you believe it? We're finally here. Welcome along to GRS F2. We're in round 3 in the lovely original night race of Singapore. We've got 15 drivers and another on the way to pack the track. Nice and short and narrow and difficult to overtake. Of course, it got a bit of a facelift this year, getting rid of the grandstand section in Sector 3, so there's an extra straight for our drivers to take advantage of. So we're going to be looking forward to some racing down there. We've got qualifying on the way. First one out is Harry Spanswick. Had a bit of an interesting outing in Japan last week. Hoping to bounce back from that one, I'm sure. And I'm being told that the race is going to have rain, which will make it just that little bit more exciting for us and the drivers. But of course, most drivers are going to be running maximum downforce already, usually 50-50 wings around Singapore, so not going to be... Ooh, that's really loud. Not going to be too much of a setup difference for our drivers heading into the intermediate or full wet conditions, whatever it's going to end up being. Of course, there might be some driver out there that wants to take full advantage of that new straight and maybe turn the wings down just that little bit. It'll be a little difficult to do that in the race for sure. Of course, for some reason, this straight not being a DRS section... Oh, there's already 3 DRS zones on the track, so that makes sense, actually. But anyway, first flying lap of the day brought to you by Harry Spanswick in the Alpha Tauri, as he keeps his car to the right-hand side of the track heading into turn 1. Probably some of the fastest corners of the track by virtue of not being completely 90 degrees one way or the other, as we head into turn 5 already. 1, 2, 3, and 4 already done. And on to the first DRS zone of the track. Little kink. That is turn 6 we're going through now. Absolutely flat out in all conditions. Probably could even do that flat in a road car. And now through the city section. First 90 degree left, then the 90 degree right, and then some of turn 8. Heading into turn 9, a little wider. Can carry the car early to the apex, wide on the exit to carry the most amount of speed through the corner. Same through this one, turn 10, and then everything slows down that little bit more as we head across the bridge and into the hairpin of turn 13. Waiting for the car to get turned in at the apex. There's a car in front of him. Is Harry going to take a little bit of a slipstream? Red Bull gets out of the way. Just enough, really. Deep into the corner into turn 14. That's the way you want to do it. Now onto the new straight. Kink through turn 15. No DRS zone for this one, but we go into what's pretty much a chicane now of 16 and 17. As very close to the wall there on the right, and then the fast double apex left-hander of 18 and 19, being careful to keep the car within the track limits. It's the first flying lap of the day with a 1 minute 30 flat for Harry Spanswick. Right behind him is not Swanwick Moore, but Olami on an outlap. Who is the next one on a flyer? It might be Marka. No, it's not. He's also on an outlap. How about Baklik? It is Zadrazil, the next one, going to be across the line on a flying lap. And we'll see how he gets on with this one as we're heading through the final couple of corners now. Very fast left-hander. And goes a 10th faster with a 129.9. Very good lap from him. Lostauskas across the line next in the Williams, 130.7. 7/10 off of Spanswick's time, so I think might have been a mistake in there somewhere. Sam Hussein flew under the radar with a 129.7, a couple of tenths faster than Zadrazil, takes the first spot as it stands. Then is it going to be Callum Pierce across the line next? Yep, P5 for him with a 131.7. Quite an array of times so far. Let's see, who can I pick up here? We'll pick up Marka, who was our race winner last time in Japan, if memory serves. Yes, it was. So looking to keep that streak of form going here for Singapore as Tuan sets the fastest time, another 10th faster than Sam Hussein. So 129.6 for Tuan. Marca heading through the 16-17 chicane now. Curbs are pretty high, but if the driver can take them just properly, they can certainly gain some time. And Marca across the line with a 130.8, so maybe a little slower than we were expecting from him. Like I said, time's kind of all over the place. The top 8 being separated by over 2 seconds. So we'll have to see if the times start to fall, if some drivers were just making some mistakes. Next one across the line is going to be Caleb White to start his flying lap. Hop on board with the Mercedes driver while we keep an eye on the timing towers. And harsh over the curb there on the right-hander of turn 5. Didn't unsettle the car too much, but I don't know if that's quite the optimal line. Now hard on the brakes, very late braking because the cars are laden with downforce and plenty of drag to help slow them down. It's through 8 now. And then on the wider left-hander of 9, early apex. I feel like that's a very difficult curb to take on the inside of 9. We're heading through 10. Now the right-hander of 11, slowing the car down all the while, being very careful not to spin up the rears too much through the bridge as we head into the hairpin. Very close to the wall there on the inside of turn 13 was Caleb White. As we head into the right-hander of 14. Once again, drivers are going to be going very deep and onto that curb. Flat out through 15 and onto the new straight. And into the chicane. Could see some good overtakes here. I'm looking forward to it for sure. And we get to see how fast the drivers can take 18 and 19, how much they commit to it. And Caleb White gives us a 131.2. Calum Leon is just going to be finishing up his lap right here. And jumps himself up into P5 with a 1 minute 30.2. I'm going to very quickly grab the stream link. Alright then. Got, Nader going to be starting out his lap in the Aston Martin. Crossing the line now. Yan opting not to take the curb on the inside of turn 5. Still was able to turn his car in enough to make the apex, and he's got an Alpine ahead of him. He's a little wide over the curves there. Is that Alpine going to get out of the way anytime soon? Yes, he does, but maybe a little bit of dirty air sent Yan's way. A little wide of the apex there through turn 11. Just clipped the outside wall with his front wing. Did that do any damage? Sliding through the hairpin as well. I assume he might be backing off of this lap sometime soon. And yeah, he's turned the battery off, backing out of this one. Seemed to be a pretty good lap until he got to sector 2. So he'll have plenty of time to go again. Still 8 laps left to go. We are watching Joe Calvi in the McLaren. Now heading through turn 9. This is a very difficult section of track, is the 10, 11, 12 sequence that we're going through now, because it seems like the car should be straight enough to take everything flat to the floor. But that is certainly not the case. You'll definitely see the drivers. Callum Pierce has just gone straight on at the end of the bridge and into the barriers at turn 14, right ahead of Calvi, who we were watching. So that will be him out of qualifying with a 131.7 at best. So that's not going to be what he wanted. I think Calvi just clipped the wall on the outside there with his right rear, but still going on with his lap and jumping up into P5 with a 130 flat. It's a bit of a hectic lap for him, but still able to make the most of it for sure. And how about Twan? Is he on another lap? Yes, he is, but he's down by 0.2 through Sector 1. So I might just hop on over to... see, Spanswick is on an in lap. As is he. As is the other McLaren. How about Marca? What is Marca up to in the Ferrari? Heading through 11, 12, and 13 now, so we can watch him. I don't want to watch his rear tire, though. I think that was a very nice taking of turn 13. A little late to the apex to maximize the exit speed, and he's almost a second up on his previous best. Maybe a little bit of understeer heading into turn 14. Thankfully, not as much as Callum Pierce. And he's still going on with his lap into the chicane now. Looking pretty good for Marca. Just one more full commitment corner to go. And over the curve there on the inside. Car absolutely eats that one for breakfast. And it's a 129.7 for him. Just a 10th off of Twan's best time so far. And the times are starting to come down a little bit in terms of their differences, I suppose. Starting to come closer together. There we go. I'll just completely restart that sentence. So we're watching Zadrazil head out of 14 down to the back straight. A lot of fierce competition in F2 this season. A lot of people able to challenge for the top spots, able to challenge for podiums. Zadrazil takes second place away from Marco by 0.02 of a second. 129.71 to a 129.73, so very, very close. And then Marco only, what is that, 0.03 of a second ahead of his teammate Sam Hussein behind him. Of course, Ferraris, they were able to get that 1-2 last week in Japan. We will find someone else to watch here. How about Olami? 0.3 up through Sector 1 in the Red Bull. Jumping up to F2 all the way from F4 and had a great race in Japan, bar the final few laps where Olami was challenging for at least a podium, found himself facing the wrong way, wanting to bounce back, and I'm sure he's going to be able to. So he has shown some pretty good pace here in F2. If I remember rightly, his teammate was supposed to be the F4 champion, whose name escapes me for some reason. I have that written down somewhere? Why can't I remember? Wow, that is very embarrassing. That's something I should know. But Swan Wickmore taking the other Red Bull for this weekend at least. And as Olami crosses the line, it's only a 0.5 of an improvement. So found some good time in Senapati. Thank you, goodness, Arjun Senapati. Wow, yes, very unprofessional for me. That is whew. I'm a little tired. I stayed up till like 3 a.m. last night watching the Las Vegas Grand Prix. So that's going to be my excuse. I meant to be the GOAT. I know, I'm letting you all down. But anyway, Here we are, Olami in 10th, just over 3 minutes left to go. And everyone's starting to head out of the pit lane on their final laps. Leon about to cross the finish line for his flying lap. Currently a 130.2. What is it going to be for him? Looked a little wide there, but that's perfectly fine because he takes the top spot with a 129.6. Just a hundredth of a second faster than Tuan, his teammate, who is on a lap to try and improve his previous time. Let's see if I can find out who is heading up the field here. Marca, out just a little bit earlier than everyone else. Doesn't want to be caught up in the traffic that we're seeing now heading through 7 and 8. I'm running on 2 hours sleep and just did a 5-hour session on F1. Wow, I'm very proud of you. But we have a very exciting session of qualifying and a race to come here, so we are going to be shot with adrenaline for that one. As was that? It was an Alpine getting spun, I think it was. I think all is okay there. And Marca about to take us away for his final flying lap of the day. Currently P4 and looking to improve. Heading through turn 1, did not realize that Spanwick was on a flying lap, and he takes the top spot with a 129.3, so 0.3 faster than Leon, and that is a very good time from him. We'll see if Marca can challenge that one. Heading through turn 5 now, onto one of the straights. For such a downforce heavy circuit, there are quite a few straights to take advantage of here. But parks his Ferrari very nicely on the exit curve of 7. Hitting that apex nicely in 8. Early into 9. Just a little lift through 11 and 12 as you do. And maybe a little bit of wheel spin and a short shift to try and circumvent that out of turn 13. As we head into 14, he's a 10th down on his previous best. Is there anything that he can find through sector 3? Might be 5th at best for Marca. Very close to the wall on the exit of 17, heading through 18 and 19. What can he find through here? He's found a couple tenths, but it's only good enough for second fastest. As next across the line will be Spanwick. And then we have the Red Bull. Nope, we have the Alpine of Tuan getting a 5-place grid penalty for colliding with his own teammate during qualifying. Now, isn't that something? Were they trying to slipstream each other? Or is Tuan just going that much faster on his quali lap? Either way, he is absolutely abandoning this one, going straight into the pit lane. It was going to be 5th at best for Tuan. How about Leon? I'm sure he's not going all that much faster. No, he's not. He's backed out of this one as well. And who is going to be next across the line? Where's the Mercedes? There it is. Of Caleb White jumping all the way from 14th to 4th with a 129.6. Right up there with the rest of them. Then the two McLarens. We've got, let's see here, George Haas crossing the line first and getting up into second place. And then his teammate jumping to 10th. 130 flat for Joe Calvi. And I think that will do it today for qualifying. Are you two taking the fight to my YouTube chat as well? Man. Anyway, here is the official qualifying results. That is pole position for Harry Spanswick, who's looking to jump back from the strange race in Japan last week. Zadrazo will be lining up behind him. Then it's George Hawes in the McLaren. Ferrari running nose to tail once again, with Sam Hussein this time ahead of Marca. Caleb White, 6-4 Mercedes, and the two Alpines of Lyon, then Tuan. But Tuan's going to be having a 5-place grid penalty. Does that apply in this screen? No. So he'll be down quite a ways. Yeah, Nader, 9th for Aston Martin, 10th for McLaren is Joe Calvi, and I have a very bad habit of going too slowly through that screen. So that's your top 10. Sort of, because I think Tuan will be outside of the top 10. And people are saying it is going to be wet, so we are definitely looking forward to that. Are we going to see a bunch of spinning at turn 1 like we did in Vegas this year in real life yesterday, literally? We need to relobby due to grid penalties, says Zeke, so that's cool. However, it looks pretty dry to me right now. And a screenshot showing us that there is supposed to be mid-race rain, start dry, mid-race rain, end dry. Isn't that something? Why did I save a set of softs? Ooh, are we not going to relobby? We will just have to see what happens. Yes, we are relobbying. Okay. Well, we're going to watch our drivers get a practice start. And we are not actually racing in Singapore. And that is a very chaotic start, and I'm glad that I completely spaced out for that one. Because, oh boy, there is a Ferrari going absolutely straight on at turn 1. Wowee, this is quite the fiasco. Full safety car already, although I think that's honestly slower than it was called out in Japan. I'm just going to throw that one out there. We're going to go to intermission so we can relobby. Yay! So anyway, as much as I think we were all expecting quite a terrible show in Vegas yesterday, in real life, that was a pretty freaking good race. Ended up being pretty good, yeah. Aside from Norris absolutely bottling it into the barriers, it's pretty good. And no one being able to take turn 1. That was something too. How about those special Vegas liveries, though? I know there's a lot of people that can go get up in arms about liveries. I have to say, Ferrari looking great. Alfa Romeo looking horrendous, even more than normal somehow. See here, AlphaTauri, kind of a strange one, but it's okay. Who else? Who else had one? Williams, kind of there. I was really expecting a great result for the Williams drivers in Vegas as well, based on the qualifying pace. But that was not very good. Not very good for them. They were dropping down quite a ways. And they melted their tires. Unlucky. Very unlucky. Does anyone know how they were able to do so well in Zandvoort? Because that was very strange, because they're all, really good aerodynamic efficiency, great on straights and stuff. And they just do really well in Zandvoort, which is pretty downforce heavy, I feel. Kind of strange. I don't know how they did it, but they sure did. Alex specifically did well in Zandvoort because they got the laps to pit right with the rain. Can't overtake unless you're okay. That makes a lot of sense actually. But even in qualifying, he got himself a pretty good position if I remember rightly. Yeah, I could be completely wrong. Sometimes I am. Ah, I'm American, and America's never wrong. You're always right. Lobby is getting set up, so no worries about that. We're gonna be going in sometime soon, for sure. I think we've pretty much got everyone in. Yeah, it looks like it. And we are readying up, and we're going to be going in just a moment. Okay, here we are on the grid for the Grand Prix, expecting some race around the midpoint and then for it to dry up near the end. So there's going to be a lot of strategy on top of everything else happening today. And we are waiting for everyone to apply their setups and their strategies. And Backlick's game crashed, but here we are on the grid, and we are racing in Singapore. Seems to be a pretty good start from Spanswick from pole, and he is going to keep it into turn one. The two Ferraris getting very close together through turn one, and we have a couple cars off already. Lestauskas is out of the race. Callum Pierce finds himself facing the wrong way, and that is a virtual safety car, it looks like. Yes, it is. Very nice. Bakalik somehow gets a 5-second penalty despite his game having crashed. Or is that a drive-through? Yep, 5 seconds. Not entirely certain, but that is about the start that you can expect from around Singapore, and we're back to green already. So it is mediums for our pole position starter of Harry Spanswick, then right behind him is a Drazel on the hards, pass 4 position on the end of the safety car. Leon getting it past Hussein right there, so Ferrari starting to drop back a little bit, coming under pressure from Caleb White as they head through the hairpin. Is Caleb going to be able to get a better exit? Looks to be pretty even between the two of them, so it's going to be a drag race down the bridge and a little bit of banging wheels between the two of them. Sees Sam Hussein keep his position. Tuan wants to make it in this fight as well. Has to back out of that one, though. A little bit of contact with Caleb White, but everyone's still facing the correct direction, and now he's trying it down the inside of 16. And, ooh, look at that. Caleb White trying to hang it around the outside of the chicane, but not quite able to do that. Now going to be coming under pressure from Joe Calvi. Is the McLaren going to be able to make up any positions here? As he drops away from this one, Bakali gets past Olami for 12th position through turn 1. And an early pit stop for Swanwick Moore, probably getting a little bit of damage to his car. Nader fighting the Ghosted Haas of Bakalik. And Bagkali is through as well. Oh, and that is, just as I cut to them, Callum Leon into the barrier. And did Sam Hussein push him through, I wonder? They were side by side as they went into the corner. And it looks like Hussein might be, well, taking responsibility for that one, as he's completely stopped on the side of the track. They didn't look like they touched as they went into the corner, but I got about 2 frames worth of information before before, man, before Leon went into the wall. Anyway, full safety car is out after that one. Still see Harry Spanswick leading the race from Zadrazil and George Hawes. Lavinius Marca behind two of them. Twan able to get up into 5th position with Caleb White right behind him. And the other McLaren of Joe Calvi. Yeah, Nader in the Aston Martin running 8th right now. Back Cali. Little further down than we would expect. He had a lot of good pace in Japan that he showed us, but he found himself facing the wrong way as well in that race. Currently running 9th, Bakalik in 10th after some first lap, first corner shenanigans. 1 DNF per lap so far, might not even reach the rain. Well, I don't think there's going to be many DNFs under this safety car, as Pierce is in for a new nose and fresh set of tires, as is Olami opting for the softs. So a lot of people saying the mediums don't last very long around Singapore, so I can't imagine the softs are going to. But we don't know exactly what lap the rain is going to come, so this might end up being a fairly good decision if that rain gets here pretty quickly. Another pit stop for Swanwick Moore. Not the greatest race for Red Bull today, unfortunately. Not many DNFs under the safety car. Have you... Yeah, okay, you're right. You got me there, bucko. We've had 2 deaths pre-turn 1 in 2 races. Well, at least this time, I think the stricken cars did make it through turn 1 one way or another. Rajwell definitely didn't make it even to the turn-in point of turn 1. Probably not even to the braking point. Well, the turn-in point happens at Japan first. At turn 1, doesn't it? Anyway, I need a 5-hour energy because I'm starting to ramble. And that is some very aggressive weaving going on to get some temperature into the surfaces of Spanswick's mediums there. Very difficult to keep the names of line of Harry Spanswick and Harry Swanwick Moore. They're just too similar. We're going to see some hot lapping from Swanwick Moore under the safety car. He's going absolutely full beans to catch up to the back of the pack. A little wide of the apex there through 3, it looked like. Clobbering the curb through 5. Heading into the braking zone of 7. It's pretty nice there, maybe a little bit of over-rotation, but felt that one pretty quickly. Now heading into 9, a little wide at the apex. As we head into 10, bring the car back to the left for the right-hander of 11. And then easy on the throttle. That's why you gotta be easy on the throttle through 12. That little slide could have been a lot worse. A little wide of the apex there of 13, giving it absolutely everything to catch up to a very slow-moving safety car train. And he is arriving just about now, but I think the safety car is just far enough along that it's not going to be called into the pits quite yet. what's going on? Okay, that is cool. we we get the broadcast. Ooh, here we go. We have the McLaren. Oh, see, there we go. There's the safety car retirement. Oh man, I really wouldn't put my foot in my mouth with that one. No one's going to retire under the safety car. Well, there we go. So the driver's going to have absolutely no control over their tire management under the safety car, fuel management, brake dragging, anything like that. Maybe if they even wanted to do a mid-safety car pit stop. Don't know why anyone would want to do that, but they can't. Tuan got a 5-second penalty. Somehow. For ignoring yellow flag. He's under the safety car. What's happening with the... What's going on here? Well, I think everyone here has lost it, and I'm losing it with them. Is the safety car called in this lap? Spanswick's controlling the field. I think the safety car is in this lap. So here we go. It's up to him when we go, and we go. We're going. And that was a good go. Zadrazil did not go as well as Spanswick goed. And now Tuan may be coming under pressure a little bit from Caleb White. There's his teammate right behind him. And, oh, the two Mercedes coming together through turn 3. Or maybe not. Maybe it was just a bit of a slide from one of them. Either way, the McLaren's trying to find his way. Oh my goodness, he just straight lined him. Yeah, okay, that was... Oh, we're getting... Okay, we're red flagged. Okay. Yeah. That scared me. That scared me, but red flag was called beforehand, so that was that's an okay straight line. You can do that. That doesn't count. Okay. All right, red flag number 2. Here we go. Swanwick Moore is leaving for dinner. Any incidents prior to this point can be assigned penalty points, but no time penalties. Understandable. Free 25%, so full restart. Everyone gets another go. Okay. So we get to see another lap 1, turn 1 kerfuffle. And we've hit the next hour mark, so we have 1 more hour to go, correct? I could say it's 2 p.m., but that doesn't mean anything for you. That is 7 European time, isn't it? I think so, because that's when the races normally start for us. And it's at 3 p.m. for you. 52 minutes remaining. Yippee! I think they can do it, though. If everyone just keeps it nice and clean down into turn 1. We don't need any more safety cars now, do we? Can I quote that, please? The race must finish by 8 p.m. UK, so get a wriggle on. What does that mean? I've never heard such terminology before. Get a wriggle on. All right, so we've got like 40 minutes for the race to start and finish. So this will be fun. Hopefully everyone remembers their setup and remembers to brake within a good distance for turn 1. Looks like people are saying there's going to be no rain. Which is not how the lobby should have been set, I don't think, but here we are. Anyway, we're back to the start of the race. And we're racing once again in Singapore. Seems to be a much better start for the Haas this time around of Zadrazil. But still second place for him right now as Marca and the McLaren getting very close together in turn 1 and making some contact. The two Alpines running very close to each other as well. Tuan getting past his teammate as they head into turn 5. That is the McLaren of Haas coming under pressure from the Ferrari of Marca, but not going for any moves or anything down into that particular corner, as they're all very close nose to tail heading through turn 8. As we can see from the helicam. It was a very good start, though, from our pole sitter of Harry Spanswick, who has gotten himself a respectable gap over Zadrazil in the first couple of sectors, just making sure everyone gets through here cleanly. As we head onto the bridge, once again, very wide there for Marca. Might have hit a wall or had a little bit of some traction issues heading through 11 and 12. He's dropped down a couple of positions. Caleb White's through and Tuan is through as well. And now that is Leon trying to defend from the charging AlphaTauri of Mehmet Bagkali. He's trying to find his way through, and Moore right behind these two as well. Is he going to try it? Ooh, it looked like he was pretty late on the brakes, but able to slow his Red Bull down in time. He's coming under pressure, though, from the McLaren of Calvi. And sticking his nose down the inside through the final couple of corners, right up behind the Red Bull there, but not making any dives down the inside into turn 1. Driver's going to be waiting for DRS to make those passes just a little bit easier and safer. Oh, and that is a spin for Zadrazil, it looks like. Yes, it is. Coming out of turn 5. So that is really unfortunate for him. I don't think anyone was really close enough to make contact with. So I think he's just lost it on his own. Unfortunately, that is our second place man, dropping all the way down into 14th position and last. So he's going to have a recovery drive ahead of him. We'll have to see if the safety car does come out at some point during this race. So far looking pretty clean. That's a good exit there from Calvi in the McLaren. Going to be diving it down the inside of Leon, who doesn't want to give this one up, but has to in the end. I can ride on board with Callum Pierce. Is he going to try his luck as well, trying to follow the McLaren through? As we head over the bridge once again. Looks like a gap forming between Spanwick in first and Hawes in second. And Hawes having quite a train of cars behind him. Caleb White right behind him. Tuan's there. Lavinius Amarca's there. Olami's catching up to them as well. So maybe a little bit of a cork in the bottle is Hawes acting as right now, as everyone is consecutively posting the fastest lap of the race after lap 2, excuse me. And I'm just seeing this fight still going on between Calvi and Moore. think if Calvi can stick right up behind him through 5, get a good exit, he's going to have a run on the Red Bull, and I think he's done just that. DRS is enabled now as well. But look, not able to make any moves. Didn't gain any ground on Moore ahead of him. That is very strange. Moore may be running lower wings or something like that, but that's not something you'd usually see in Singapore. But the DRS and the battery not helping Calvi get any closer to the Red Bull. Very interesting indeed. Look at him, he's still right up behind him. They could make contact at any moment as soon as someone makes a little mistake. Well, there's one right there for Calvi. Heading into the hairpin there. Oh, a little slide on the exit for Moore. How's everything going ahead? Everyone holding position. And Marca getting a track limits penalty already. Going wide on the exit of 14. Very easy to do. I just saw OBS flash red there for a moment, so hopefully my stream is not starting to die for some reason. Oh, I think we should be okay. We're all green now. Good. Boy, there's absolutely nothing separating these two. I gotta keep watching this. Oh, and wide goes Moore. That's the invitation Calvi needed. He's gonna have the inside into turn 1 if Moore wants to even fight this one back. That is Moore down the inside into turn 1. And not much space between them as the pass is made. Starting to lose my voice a little bit, sounds like. How about up ahead? That is Haas in the other McLaren, getting passed by Caleb White down the inside, and a very opportunistic move from Tuan to get through as well. I think Marco wanted to follow the two of them, but just found the door shut a little bit there, but now he's going to. So one overtake, putting Haas offline. And now he's dropped 3 positions in the span of just a few corners, and he's got Olami right behind him as well. And while this fighting is happening, Bagkali has joined the back of this train. Now it's going to be side by side between Leon and Nader we saw in the background, but Leon holding on to his position. And is that Bagkali trying to make a move around the outside of 14? And that is a very well done overtake there on Olami for 6th position at the end of the straight. Yellow flags for Yan, who has found himself facing the wrong direction out of the hairpin turn 13. That's dropped him to 13th place. Boy, that was a great overtake between Olami and Yan there. And we see Caleb White starting to push too hard on his battery. Tuan diving it down the inside at turn 1. Barges the Mercedes off the track. We'll have to see what the stewards think of that one, but he was well alongside the Mercedes on the inside. And now Marcos found himself up into the podium positions as well, but does have that 3-second time penalty. As we head down the first DRS straight once again, is Marco going to try anything on Tuan, who defends the inside half-heartedly, but knows that with the DRS and a good run, there's not much that he can do other than a little bit of a switchback. And he's going to have the outside for this corner. Is he going to go for another switchback this time? No, Marco's got him covered off this time, so he's up into 2nd place on track. And now it's Calvi and Olami fighting it out for P6 as they head into turn 10. Olami staving off the attack this time around. As we head over the bridge and through the hairpin once again. It's going to be Tuan with DRS. But he's dropped back a little bit, didn't have a good exit out of 13. Sees him stay behind the Ferrari of Marco this time around. Then the next major battle going on is Moore leading this train of 4 cars. And Callum getting very close to him and making a bit of contact, but everyone facing the right direction at the end of that one. Just getting a little bit too close for comfort. Now Caleb White starting to drop away from the rest of the group that he was leading not too long ago. Bagkali's going to try it down the inside, and there's not much that White has much to... There's not much left in White's Mercedes to fight back with. So he might be coming under pressure from Olami as well. But I want to see if Tuan is going to try it once again. Down into turn 7. He's a bit closer this time around, but that DRS is still not helping him as much as he would want. Side by side between Olami and Caleb White. Oh, and there's contact between the two of them. Caleb almost spinning around, but able to keep his Mercedes pointed the right way. And that is Hawes following him through as well, up into 6th position for him. That is Moore without a left side end plate on his front wing now. Don't know quite when that happened. And not much battery left in his Red Bull as well. Everyone fighting tooth and nail for any position they can find, but fortunately for everyone involved, not bringing out the safety car quite yet. Looks like Tuan might just be content to sit behind Marca for now, charge up the battery, make Marca go defensive every once in a while to keep him on his toes. When you can just see the understeer there in the Red Bull of Moore with that little bit of front wing damage, taking it all the way up to the barrier a little earlier than he might have wanted. Callum Pierce just showing his nose down the inside of 16. The backside of that one pretty quick. And just as I cut away, that's Callum Pierce getting past Moore, and now it's going to be Leon trying it down the inside into turn 1, and he gets that position as well. So that's 2 positions down for Moore in just a couple of corners, and he's clattered the curbs there on the inside. Is that going to invite Lestauskas in for P11, but a little too far back there is the Williams driver on this occasion. Hawes still chasing down Olami for 5th position. We can just bring up the telemetry here. Low on fuel, but plenty of battery, but we see the flashing light of Olami up ahead, and I just realized that I never brought up the tire detail. Bad Cali up 10 positions already. That is impressive. Most drivers starting on the mediums, couple hard runners in there. And Hawes is biding his time behind the Red Bull, knows he's got him right where he wants him. Something we should be looking at here is the gap between our leader of Spanswick and 2nd place. Ooh, and that was a clatter of the barrier on the left-hand side for Olami, who dives into the pit lane as quickly as he can, goes across the curbs, didn't quite slow it down enough to go into the pit lane cleanly. And this race is going from not so great to pretty bad here for Olami, heading in for an early pit stop. And as the new nose phases into the old one, it's like an infinite front wing glitch there that the Red Bull crew has found. And his teammate is in as well. Is that for a new front wing as well? Yes, it is. And Lestauskas retires into the pit lane, so that's not going to bring out the safety car. What I was going to say, before all that happened, is we need to watch the gap between these two right here that we're watching, Marco and Tuan, and the leader of Spanswick. If the gap is going to be growing or shrinking. Because these two haven't been fighting each other, so maybe just pulling each other along, making up some ground on the leader. Or Singapore is a track that's very difficult to regain lost battery charge. So that's it's a good reason that we'll see a lot of lights flashing, because as soon as the battery is expended, it's very difficult to get any of it back. So a driver committing to recharging their battery has a lot of laps to commit to in order to do so. But the gap now 2.2 seconds between 1st and 2nd. Tuan's still right behind Marca, not close enough to make any dives, although maybe he is, but just doesn't want to. And now we have a small Mercedes sandwich on McLaren bread, with Paz and Calvi surrounding Caleb White here in 6th position. I'm just seeing, is Tuan closer to the Ferrari this time around? He is. Still not going for it, though. How about Calvi? Is he going to try anything on White? Nope, certainly too far back on that occasion. Seems to be difficult to follow a car through the turn 13 hairpin. Makes it difficult for them to take advantage of the DRS and get past their rival into 14. And that flashing light does mean that White is going to be a little slower on the straights as his battery is harvesting when it should be deploying. Calvi has quite a bit to play with, but opting not to right now, as Bad Cali is into the pit lane, and I think this might be the first one on pure strategy. So he's going to be out on new hard tires, and some people were saying that there's no rain forecasted this time around, so will the hards be able to make it the extra, what is that, 21 laps that's left in the race? That'd be interesting. Infinite front wing glitch once again for for Aston Martin. We'll see how far these hards can go. Only doing 10 on the mediums, though, doesn't really bode well for the tire life. Maybe a 2-stop in the future of Bad Cali and Nader. As well as the Drazel, who I should say is on 7-lap old soft tires. Hards only need to go 23 minutes. That is true. I forgot about that one. We are ending on the next hour mark. Not necessarily on the end of the race lap distance, but, I mean, how long is a race lap compared to how much time we have left? Because we still have 22 minutes and 20 laps to go. That's like 14, 15 laps. Okay, so I'm wrong. Assuming a lap is probably like a minute and a half. So yeah, okay. Understandable. Calvi now, right behind Caleb White as he was before. Is he going to go for the overtake? I think he's got a better exit out of 5. And he's got the DRS and the battery and the slipstream, and he's pulling to the inside for 7. Here he goes, down the inside, Calvi making it up into 5th position. White trying to switch it back, but to no avail. That is a McLaren 4.5 right now. Looking pretty good for them. I think Calvi was down quite a ways, wasn't he? Let's bring up the position change here. Yep, up 4 positions from his qualifying result. That's looking pretty good for him. How's Tuan doing? Still right behind Marca. And still staying right behind Marca. Although these two have closed in quite a ways to Spanswick ahead of them. Gap only 1.2 seconds right now. So they are catching him. Although I'm sure he'll be recharging his battery and doing everything he needs to do to stave off any attacks. We can just bring up the telemetry. No, he's not. He is expending. He wants to keep everyone out of his DRS, and he has absolutely failed to do so, as the gap is now down to 0.8 seconds, and Marca has DRS down the pit straight. So now, Spanswick's going to be coming under pressure from Marca, who has a time penalty, and Tuan, who does not, and is looking pretty good here, honestly, on the hards. So realistically, Tuan probably wants Marca to overtake Spanswick. And then Tuan needs to get past Spanswick himself and stay within 3 seconds of Marca for the win of the Singapore Grand Prix. And they will have to do so within 20 minutes. McLarens are running nose to tail. That was a little mistake, it looked like, coming out of the hairpin before the back straight, and that has lost Tuan quite a bit of time, actually. Maybe his plan not going to be coming to fruition right away. Side by side between White and Calvi sees White reclaim P5. Does have that time penalty, but might as well race his heart out. And that was a little loose in the rear for Spanswick heading out of the chicane. Onto the pit straight we go then. Is Marka feeling racy down into turn 1? I think he's going to be a little far back for this one. As is Tuan, outside of DRS range with that little mistake out of the hairpin. I'm sure he would like to see these two fight it out for their position and slow each other down, so he can catch back up to them. Spanswick looking defensive going into turn 7. Trying it around the outside is Marka, but to no avail. And now Tuan is back within a second. So he's going to be getting that DRS down the straight if he can stay within it. And, well, he certainly can because it's 0.3 seconds right now. And he's looking ever closer to Marka. Oh, but he's lost it again! Oh, this time on the exit of turn 11, it looked like. And he just had a brush of the barriers. He's dropped himself 3 seconds away from the leading pair. Has he done damage to his Alpine? The end plates are still there, so I think everything's going to be okay. Very light damage, if any. Another mistake. Tuan sees him drop out of contention once again. Back Cali makes a move at the hairpin for P7. Usually not where you see it. Hopefully I can catch a replay of that at some point. Does that look to be an interesting move? And now we see Olami chasing down Zadrazil. Zadrazil has 10-lap-old soft tires, which I'm sure are not feeling very good right now, compared to hard tires of Olami half as old. So we'll keep an eye on that battle as well. Marka's actually looking pretty good here. I think it would be a bit of a stretch to win and lead by 3 seconds to keep his P1 position. But he has shown us his pace. So he's probably going to try it here, because he is right glued to the rear of Spanswick ahead of him. Ooh, and a yellow flag. That is the Alpine of Lyon. On the final corner, has completely lost his front wing right after pit entry. Is he going to try and make it in? Is the question. Will he have to drive backwards to do so? Nope, he's just going to keep going. Very unfortunate, because he has to do pretty much an entire lap of Singapore with almost no front downforce, which I'm sure is going to feel great. But on the bright side, he's already in 13th position, and I don't think that extra long pit stop would actually help him regain any positions and get back into the points. Unfortunate mistake for him. Marka's still right behind the leader of Spanswick, and that was another quick yellow flag, this time for the Mercedes of Callum Pierce at the hairpin. And Marka has made the pass for the lead as Spanswick into the pit lane. Now here's something. I think he's playing the time game. Only about 15 minutes left to go. Is he going to be going on to softs is the question. Oh, he's going on to hards. He thinks he's going to the end of the race. That's really unfortunate, I have to say. Another yellow flag there for the Alpine of Lyon. And more pit stops going on, so they're sticking to the original pit stop strategy, but they only have 15 minutes left to go. So I think Marka and Tuan are going to be playing this one correctly, as we have a very strange Singapore Grand Prix in GRS F2 today. But Tuan, to his credit, has caught his way back up to within DRS range of Lavinius Marka. Of course, on penalties, he would have the position anyway, but in the rare event that Marka gets a penalty repealed in the stewarding room, maybe it would be a good idea to pass for the lead on track just to be safe. There is Spanswick out of the pit lane, getting himself ahead of Callum Pierce. And Leon retiring into the pit lane, unsurprisingly, as he was not too far away from getting lapped on this occasion. And Marca is going into the pit lane. Now the thing is, I think Twan's going to be playing this one absolutely beautifully. Does he even need to pit is the question. I don't think he would be disqualified. Maybe an admin can fact check me on this one. If we're doing a timed race, or if the race ends before the lap counter on time, does anyone need to run 2 different compounds? That is the question, and if the answer is no, you don't need to run 2 different compounds, then Twan has played this one brilliantly, because he only needs to keep that first position for about 14 minutes right now. And Bakali maybe just running the same strategy. Oh, no, he's on 6-lap-old hard tires. Interesting. So he's got much younger tires. If you don't hit lap 31, you can run the same compound. Okay, thank you. And that is... Unless Twan loses it again, I think that's him solidly for the win of the race. But we'll have to see what happens. So Baghalli is going to be quite a bit faster. His tires are 10 laps younger, or thereabouts. But he has 12, almost 13 seconds to overcome in 13 laps time, so if he can gain a second a lap, he'd still have to overtake at the end. Well, the battle for 6th position is still alive and well, as the McLaren of Joe Calvi leads his McLaren teammate of George Haas, ahead of Caleb White, who's starting to drop away from those two, still has that penalty, which at the moment won't account for much. But you just wonder if the two teammates are going to be going at it at any time soon. And I think Zadrazil out of the pit lane is very close to the rear of Harry Moore. And he has absolutely smacked him through the final corner, pushing the Red Bull along, everyone facing the right direction still. So 1-lap-old mediums compared to 9-lap-old hards. Let's see what the difference is. And that is quite a difference. So those Zadrazil having to check up on the exit of the corner means he's not going to have the greatest exit. Doesn't matter though, he's got the confidence and the DRS, and he is up into 11th place. What are the penalties is my question. Everyone who has a penalty has 3 seconds. And Twan gets himself a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane, so not trying to stay out on old hard tires, and that means Bag Cali is going to inherit the lead of the race with very good tires and 10 laps to defend P1, or 10 minutes to defend P1. So that is as Bag Cali solidly in for the win of the race. Now, all of a sudden, the pendulum has swung. Although Twan has new medium tires, and well, I'm sure he can find quite a bit of pace. 10 minutes remaining is the call from the admins. Twan with a newfound 5-second penalty, 9 seconds to the pole sitter ahead of him, and then another 7 or 8 seconds to the race leader. Everyone into the pit lane with 10 minutes to go. I guess they're all trying for some new tires, but Bag Cali is solidly ahead. As they exit the pit lane, everyone getting a little close to each other. As Marca exits in last position, just behind Perry Moore. He is not going to defend this overtake either. That is Marco up into 11th. While that was happening, I didn't realize that Caleb White got past George Haas. Or maybe I did and I completely forgot, but I don't think I did. Anyway, Caleb White has indeed gotten past George Haas and is now once again the Mercedes filling in a McLaren sandwich. I think this entire time his harvesting lights have not stopped flashing. He's looking to take the inside on the exit of turn 3. Not finding anything there. Looks like he wants this position though. Might as well race as long as you're in a race car on a racetrack. And he's going to be forced to the outside of turn 7. Oh, and they make contact, the McLaren and the Mercedes, although I don't think anyone really goes off the track. And that is Caleb White up into 4th position. So there we go. There's not the cleanest overtake, but an overtake nonetheless. Now Haas very close to the rear of his teammate. Is he going to look to swap positions? Had the battery on, but opted to switch it back off. Be interesting to see what happens with these three, as they've been fighting it out for the entire race pretty much. As Tuan sets the fastest lap of the race, that'll get him an extra point. But he's still 6 seconds away from 2nd place. And an extra 5 or 6 behind 1st, so... Seeing Olami get up to the rear of Zadrazil's Haas, has slightly newer tires of the same compound, but not entirely certain if he's going to be able to make any passes for position. Still 7 minutes left to go. Time is ticking down, but it's going pretty slowly, honestly, as we keep checking every minute or so. It's like waiting for your shift to end at work, and you just keep checking the clock, and you think it's probably been about 15 minutes at this point, and it's only been 3. There's a bit of wheel spin coming from Olami's Red Bull as the pass is made between the 2 McLarens. That's Haas up into 5th place now from Calvi. Tuan setting yet another fastest lap of the race. Still only nets him 1 championship point, of course. Now Zadrazil maybe getting held up a little bit by Pierce, as Olami is right behind him. So races are still on for points paying positions, as the clock is starting to wind down. Showing his nose down the inside was Olami. Official call is 5 minutes remaining. Lavinius Marca retires into the pit lane, it looked like. Yes, into the pit lane. Wasn't quite sure if that was the final corner or the pit lane. But, yes. Not going to be safety cars this time around. Could we officially say that the GRS F2 race, if we don't finish with a safety car, finished without a safety car? As we had a couple restarts. Maybe on absolute technicality you could say that, which would be quite a feat for any race in Singapore. as now Olami is hunting down Callum Pierce, who was very offline through the past few corners, but Olami not quite able to make his way down the inside of any of them. Maybe wanted to get past Zadrazil, but Zadrazil's starting to run away with this one already. Technically, yeah, it would be a feat for F2, yeah, for sure. Now Olami really wants this position, wants to chase down Zadrazil if he can, and makes it around the outside into turn 14. And has a second and a bit to Zadrazil ahead of him. It's going to be a bit difficult to chase that one down. We've seen how fast Zadrazil can be. But we've seen how easy it is to make mistakes as well. Gap now down to just under 3 seconds between the front two, though. So Bad Cali's tires may be starting to fall away a little bit compared to his teammates. And Tuan getting within 3 seconds of Spanswick. Yeah, so I was looking for a move on white. Not able to find that one quite yet. How about Olami, who is able to get himself up to within a second, and the DRS is open. And Zadrazil's been pushing along as well. Neither of these two drivers with much battery left. Three minutes left, so maybe just 2 laps to go. And the gap really starting to come down between the top three, as it's under 2 seconds between Tuan and Spanswick, and it's about to be under 2 seconds between Spanswick and Bad Cali. Just depends on when they cross the finish line for the final lap of the race. I'm sure we're going to do it like any other timed race. When the clock hits the hour mark, everyone finishes up the lap, I assume. Looking again at Zadrazil, defending from Olami. He's a bit closer this time around, 0.3 taken out of the gap since we saw them last. And as Zadrazil catches Nader, he's going to have some slipstream and some DRS of his own if he can get within a second, of course. But I want to look the gap between Spanswick and Tuan, now well under a second, just over a tenth even. What's the penalty? So Tuan needs to take any position on these two with 5 seconds of a gap behind him, which I don't really think he's going to be able to do. It's going to be a solid third place for him as he goes down the inside into turn 1 and makes the move stick. Oh, or does he? Fighting back around the outside is Harry Spanswick as he just about loses his AlphaTauri over the curbs, but gets Tuan into second place on track. Now he's going to be chasing down the lead with just a minute to go, so this might very well be the final lap. This is the final lap. The checkered flag is technically out, as Spanswick tries down the inside, and they both spin! They both spin as Spanswick tries for a move. Honestly, he didn't need to make unless Tuan could fight back against that 5-second time penalty, but speeding into the pit lane, usually you can't. Very unfortunate between those two, and the battle is on between the McLaren and the Mercedes as well, as Haas gets himself up ahead of Caleb White, and very nearly taking out the rear axle of the Mercedes there was the Red Bull of, taking out the rear, yes, you know what I mean. Anyway, this has been a long day. And so this is the final lap, checkered flag lap 24. So we are watching the race leader, Mehmet Bad Cali, who has come from quite a ways down the order, I have to say. Where is the position change? 13 places up into P1. And it's going to be an AlphaTauri 1-2 as Mehmet Bad Cali crosses the line and takes the win in Singapore in GRS F2, followed by his teammate Harry Spanswick. Started on pole, finished behind his teammate. A job well done for him. Tuan able to make up some positions, but having some late contact with the AlphaTauri sees him get third position. And now it's Haas going to be fending off Caleb White for one more corner as they head down the pit straight for the final time. It's Haas from White from Calvi. I should remember people's names. And now a three-way battle for who's going to finish in 6th position. Sees Nader holding on to his position and the Red Bull getting all out of shape, but that's Nader ahead of Olami, ahead of Zadrazil. And it's going to be Callum Pierce finishing in 10th place. This is all without penalties, of course, so we should probably bring that up so everyone can look at what they are, so we know what to apply at the end. And unfortunately, out of 14 runners, only one finisher is going to be not getting a point today, and that is going to be Harry Moore. But it was a good race nonetheless. Crosses the line, ooh, and pretty much loses his Red Bull on the final corner of the final lap. And there you have it. There's Matt Kelly going for a very celebratory drift and slamming his AlphaTauri into the wall. The race is over. I'm sure some drivers are going to be trying to just drive a little bit more, because that's what we're here for. But that will do it for us today. I am ready to be done with the stream after doing this for a couple hours. And, well, it was a fun race, aside from all of the restarting. And honestly, after seeing that, everyone in F2 doing pretty well to keep the safety car in the pit lane, for the most part. Took them a couple starts to get it right, though, so. Anyway, we will see you next time. Same time, same channel. All that fun stuff. That will do it for me. What is next week? These are things I should know. Where is the calendar channel? My Discord's very small, so I can fit a lot of things on my screen. What is next? We are going to Spa-Francorchamps, so that is going to be a whole lot of fun. Everyone loves Spa. And that is going to be our race next week. So, we will see you then. Goodbye.